Yeah.
All right, everybody, this is a brand new episode of Table Cheese. I'm your host, Dee.
And I'm Anton Sixxx of the Cheesy Controller Podcast.
I feel like that's going to be a game we play every episode. Is Anton going to say the whole thing, or is he not going to say the whole thing? This is we got a couple stories to talk about this week. We took an adventure out to the lag. It's a full episode of just fun this week, and I know like you're really excited about a few things. Most importantly, Splatoon 3. So how about we get into that, and after that we can talk about this Pokemon news you were talking to me about earlier.
Well, yeah, so Splatoon 3 came out yesterday as of recording, and I worked yesterday, and like you said, we went out to the lag last night, which is a event here in Atlanta. It's like a video game cosplay, lo-fi music style of event, and it was really interesting. The venue wasn't necessarily the best, in my opinion, but I mean, outside of that, there were a lot of people that I hadn't seen in a long time that I got to see for the first time in some of their cases, like over a year that I hadn't seen some of these people. So it was really good to just go out and to be able to, because I haven't really been going out and doing much lately, so.
Mm-hmm. I liked it. I thought it was nice. It was, it felt like one of those old events I used to go to when I was a kid. It did feel very Atlanta in its way. Like I got to network with quite a few people. Cost Rip, God Angel, God Anime. Was it one Shingo? And Alana's Bakeries. Like there's a lot of different vendors there selling different things, all Georgia based. Like it was cool to like just sit around and just chat with everybody and just just cut it up. Cause I almost got to play Multiverse. I was this close to playing Multiverses. Didn't happen though. Didn't happen. But it was a good time. Got to meet you guys. We got to meet the whole Cheesy Controller podcast crew. That was also cool.
You met everybody but Chris. And
everybody but Chris.
Yeah. Chris is...
He was an odd man out.
Yeah. Super busy, but so it's understandable. But yeah, you got to meet everybody but Chris. You got to meet Radic. Radic by nature, lo-fi producer extraordinaire, and he DJ'd my wedding, and so... And he's somebody that I consistently play games with just like on a regular basis.
So hardcore gamer friend. Also on top of everything else. But speaking of what, I got to meet your wife also. Like that was also a treat.
Did.
Very nice lady.
Yeah. She had a lot of fun last night. So
yeah. Like I wish I could have stayed longer. It would have been nice to stay like, until like I think it was midnight. It's like their cutoff point.
Oh, 1 was their cutoff point, but I think I was out of there before midnight.
Did you get to see the cosplay contest?
No. I saw a lot of the people that came in with cosplays, but after you left, we went and we sat outside. There was like a fountain that was off, and we just sat by the fountain and were talking. And because Jalen Squid Bishop, he was talking about getting back into Final Fantasy 14 soon. And really getting... Well, all he has left is post-game Shadowbringers and Endwalker. So, and while that's 40 hours or something crazy like that, it's still, in the grand scheme of things, not that much. If you've gotten that far.
No, yeah.
Yeah, if you've made it to the end of Shadowbringers, you can do post-game Shadowbringers. It's gonna be a lot of cutscenes, but the trials and dungeons, like all that content's really good, so there'll be a lot of motivation to play.
Maybe that's something I should look into also, is Final Fantasy 14.
And that actually has a Mac version.
Yeah, that's exactly why. That's exactly why I bring it up, because I've heard like it does have a Mac version, so that's something I should probably look into for sure. You did also send me the Stadia version of Destiny.
The Stadia,
It is
yeah.
Stadia. Thank you. Like I keep getting that damn thing wrong, but I have it on my computer. I don't have a controller yet, but once I have a controller, you're not gonna go at it. Play some Destiny. I play a little bit on my phone with that pocket controller I told you about.
And how'd
But
that run?
it was smooth actually. It wasn't glitchy. The controller itself isn't the best for it, and like I can't play a game like that on the screen pad. Like we talked about this last episode. I'm not cut out for that. So yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it'll run on just in Chrome wherever you decide to run Chrome, and I
Okay.
know that game's free to play. I'm not sure if they have any other free to play games, but if they do have more than just Destiny, there might be a opportunity for multiverses to come to that.
See,
And
we told
you're
you.
you're one of the use cases when Stadia was first announced. I was like, for people who don't necessarily have gaming hardware but want to play games, Stadia, and I mean, Xbox cloud streaming is arguably better than it at it because they give you more games, there's more content, there's a lot of systems that Xbox has in place with just being Xbox that Stadia has had to like build up to. And the thing about Stadia is you have to buy whatever games you want to play. So let's say Assassin's Creed Mirage, the next one that's coming out next year, you wanted to play that game. If it came to Game Pass, it'd just be included with your Xbox Game Pass subscription and you can play it through cloud, whereas you'd have to purchase it full price on Stadia.
Let's pause from like the Stadia for 1 second and talk about this Xbox Game Pass. I keep hearing about this. I watched like a few TikTok, Instagram videos, and one I watched was this guy asking folks at this gaming convention what's the next best thing from gaming right now. And a few people he talked with said that like it's Xbox because of their Game Pass. Maybe there's some things about this Game Pass I don't understand, but like what is so awesome about this Game Pass? Is it that you can get new games that come out that drop and like they're automatically yours because you have this Game Pass?
Yeah, it's like the common analogy for it is the Netflix of gaming. It is you pay $15 a month for Ultimate, and every Microsoft first party game, so Halo, Gears, Forza, Microsoft Flight Sim, just Fable, anything like that, Redfall, Starfield. So now that they bought Bethesda and people are assuming Call of Duty and Overwatch and Diablo and things like that, day one drop on Game Pass. So as long as you have the membership, everything Microsoft published day one comes to Game Pass. And then they also do deals with third parties. So like they did a deal with Square Enix to get Outriders day one. So Outriders launched on Game Pass, and Rainbow Six Extraction with Ubisoft. That game
Yeah.
launched day and date on Game Pass. So it's not necessarily just Microsoft first party games, but they have like a library that kind of rotates in and out. And most games that you can play on console, you can play through streaming either on a computer or with a controller, the same way you can with Stadia or like on a phone.
Okay.
And they have the touch controls options, or you could pair a controller with your phone. So it's a subscription and it's you don't even need to have an Xbox because it works on PC and it has the
PC.
streaming option. So if you're on Xbox, it does give you a lot of options of things to play. Like if you just boot up your Xbox, you can go to Game Pass and you don't even necessarily have to download the game because they have the cloud streaming. They could also just stream it to your console, and so it's this library of games that if you just feel like it, you could hop into games like a lot of big games. everything announced at Xbox's E3 showcase this year is coming to Game Pass day one. So even
That's
the third
insane.
party, even the smaller indie things, like all of that is coming to Game Pass.
You think that that's going to be like the future of gaming? It's like making this like the norm,
I mean, Xbox has a lot of ground to catch up, so that's and a lot of money to burn. So that's why I see Xbox doing this. Like Nintendo and PlayStation both also have subscription services that let you like have access to a library of games and is good for like new people getting into gaming, but it's not on the
right?
same level as Game Pass in any way, shape, or form. But that's because the PlayStation 4 sold like 3 times as many units as the
Right.
Xbox One. So they just had a
They
lot
won.
of
They won
ground.
the console wars essentially. Well, that's how most people put it. Like they won the console wars.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of like a momentum difference. Like right now, Xbox is selling more hardware because they have the Series S that's cheaper to make and is more readily
Right.
available. Like I know a few people who their current gen system is a Series S because you can get it with like a game for $300. So, and then on top of that, if you get Game Pass, you just that's a extremely cheap way to get into gaming. And it's a current gen console. It's not as powerful, but I mean it does up to 1440p. You can do up to 120 frames per second. It's capable of ray tracing, but there's no disk drive and so everything has to be digital. But I mean,
But
for
it's
me,
more for like the casual on off kind of gamer, not like the hardcore,
well,
hard
I know
press kind of have their
hardcore
misreps.
gamers who've gotten it because it's cheap. It's a cheap way to get into the next generation. And that's
Mm,
why Xbox is moving more hardware because it's a capable machine. And so, like, my PlayStation's all digital. So, like, the difference for me between PlayStation and Xbox, yeah, my PS5 is more powerful, but a Series S is something I could just have in the background, and it's something I've considered. But the big exciting thing is I got a Steam Deck. I reserved it back in May. Finally got my email about my turn in line came up. They called my number, and
that's
so
that's so 2000 of you.
well, I was well. People went to. You still go to the DMV. They still pull your number.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. We were talking about this like off camera, and you were explaining a little bit to me about what this Steam Deck is. I got a review of it going on in the background right now, but like let everyone who out there who doesn't know exactly what a Steam Deck is know what a Steam Deck is.
A Steam Deck is a portable PC. It is their answer, Valve's answer to the Nintendo Switch. So Valve's done certain hardware things. Like if you look in my background, I have a Steam Link, and it's a little bit out of picture, but I also have a Steam controller. Um, Valve's done different hardware over the years. They did the HTC Vive with HTC for VR, and now they do the Valve Index. And for a few years they were licensing Steam machines, which through like Alienware and stuff that computers would be like these computers are built for gaming through Steam, and so their latest thing, and it seems to be just great. The thing is, I couldn't pass up on an opportunity to get one because the Steam Deck can run essentially your entire Steam library. I know when it launched, people were testing Elden Ring, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade runs on it.
I think
Uh,
God of War as well. Yeah,
yeah, God of War. Like any, there are certain things with like anti cheat, like so Destiny won't run on it. Um, I I'm not sure if Halo Infinite runs on it, but like now games are being announced. Like when they come out, part of their announcement will be and it's deck verified, so it can just be played on the Steam Deck. So
apparently it's 11.5 inches from end to end. It's also 1.5 pounds, so it's light. It's very comparable to the Switch size wise. It looks
Yeah,
like.
it's bigger than the Switch because it has more complex, like it has touch pads on the sides, and it the controllers, like the Joy-Cons, are really like trying to fit a lot into a small package, whereas the Steam Deck, they're like, we gotta have a good D-pad, we want to have these additional things. So it seems like the form factor more so fit the features than trying to make the features fit the form factor.
I get that. And they do have different gig sizes and different prices that come in those gig sizes. And those sizes are 64 gigabytes for $400, 256 gigabytes for $529, all American, and 512 gigabytes for $649. But I do think like you get like a device like this, like it'll last you at least a good 10 years. I would like so if you look at that 512 gigabytes, you may be playing this for a good while, even after like a new version of it possibly comes out.
Right, because that's something that's kind of been being rumored lately, is that they're going to be revisions and like updates to it. And I mean, I only got the 64 gig, but they're all expandable.
Oh
So,
wow, really?
yeah, you can put a micro SD card in it.
This is the
And
hello,
yeah, I mean,
hello,
it's a
dear
full-fledged PC. You can hook it up
God.
through USB-C. So anything you can do with the MacBook through USB-C, you can add additional storage, you can export to a monitor, you can do controllers. It has Bluetooth, it has Wi-Fi, so
So this may be like my answer. Like instead of getting like a PC, just grab one of these bad boys instead.
you'll be waiting. If even if you were to reserve one this very second, you'd be waiting months.
Ah, all right then. No, so don't put too much eggs in my basket when it comes to this. Gotcha,
Right.
gotcha.
It's one of those things that so far, I know a couple people who are like, and I mean, these people also create content, but they're not huge content creators. Like a few people on the Rusty Rupees podcast have Steam Decks, but for the
Okay.
most part, this is like one of those like games enthusiast devices, and it just seems to be the highest quality one and the most fully featured one. Because I mean, there are these Chinese handheld retro emulation, Android based, like all kinds of just,
Similarities.
yeah, there are things like this that come out every day.
That's kind of
But
like how it goes. That's like the nature of the beast. In all
yeah,
honesty, yeah.
but the Steam Deck, just with it's running Steam OS, which is a skin for Proton, which is a version of Linux that can emulate Windows to run Windows games.
So that means like it's fast, it's fluid, it won't have much lag to it, like and like it's comparable to just about anything. Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, and because it's running on a small screen, it can bump down resolution and you won't necessarily notice, to make the games run better. So
Chef's kiss,
it's
yeah.
going to be interesting. I got like a few games in my Steam library that I want to throw at it when I get it.
Let me ask you this: like, since like you do know so much about this, and creating content with video games is like a never-ending thing. How is this gonna fit when it comes to creating content? Like, can you live stream with something like this? Do you like need to get a whole different setup for something like this? Like, how's that whole like thing gonna work with something like this, or can you not even do anything like that?
I mean, considering it's at its core a PC, it'd be extremely tedious, but I could just get like a really big USB hub and plug all the stuff that I have plugged into my computer, plug it into the Steam Deck, and supposedly it'll like, I'm not sure how much power, cuz like it's a handheld thing, so it's not like it has the huge fans and like cooling that my PC has, but um yeah, so I know I've seen OBS running on it, so
Oh, wow.
I'm yeah. So I mean, It's probably not the best device for it, but it's some. You'd be surprised at the amount you can do with it.
All right. I mean, all right. Seems like this is definitely a game changer. Maybe I should find one of those off brands. I love buying. I know like you just talked about it, but I love buying off brand devices. I love it. I think it's fun. I think like it's always like something cool you can figure out. Even if it's like full on junk. I love getting off brand devices because like they can always show you something that's probably not as cool as the original, but like something you can probably take around with and make your own when it comes to that. I like doing it. I like getting off brand stuff. I'm assuming you're not a big fan of buying off brand items.
I mean, it depends. Like, if it's something that is like, this is really gonna do something that something else I have doesn't do. Like, technically, the controllers I use for my Switch they're third party, and they have a lot of features that my Joy-Cons don't have. So they have like a turbo button, they have assignable paddles on the back. They have like a legitimately good directional pad, and it's just a better feel for the controller in my opinion. So these are third
Yeah,
party, but they're officially licensed. But even if I just found some random controllers on eBay that were just as good as these, I'd go with those over the Joy-Cons at any time. So I'm not against it, but a lot of times I'll try and stick on the thing that I know a lot of people have, so I can go on
I get that.
YouTube and look up a YouTube video if something goes wrong or if
I get
like.
that. That makes sense.
But a good YouTube channel for you to watch if you're interested in a lot of these like handheld retro emulation or handheld cloud streaming or whatever, just small handhelds that aren't the Switch or the Steam Deck, because those two you can throw a stone on the internet and find content about them. But Wolf Den, WLFFDEN, I think is how it's spelled on YouTube, but that's a great YouTube channel that they review the Retron. There's any handheld device I see pop up on the internet, I usually see a Wolf Den video about it soon after. So,
All right. It sounds like that's gonna be my new MK Ice and Fire for devices that aren't the standard. Like, gotcha. Like Wolf Den. I'm on it. I like it.
so there's that. One of the things we wanted to talk about this week, and I kind of wanted to get your first impressions on this.
Okay.
So I dropped a link to all the new Pokemon as part of Gen 9 of Pokemon that have been announced so far. And we'll go through the list. It starts off with the starters. It kind of has them in the order they were announced, except the legendaries. The legendaries. So I guess it's trying to assume the Pokedex order of these Pokemon.
Uh, Brigadio. Sprigato.
Sprigatito.
Wow. Okay. You know these names right off the back of your hand. All right. This is a grass class. These are
Yes.
all just fucking adorable. First off.
So the out of the first three, those are your starters. That's your grass, fire, and water starter. Just off
Okay.
of these Pokemon designs, which one are you choosing?
Probably Coco. Few Coco.
Fuecoco?
All right.
Yeah, I typically go fire type, but I'm liking Sprigatito this time
And
around.
that's the second option. I'm not lying to you. And I love Ducktales. So like was it Quaxley?
Quaxley? Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm digging Quaxley, but yeah. Sprigato is definitely a go-to.
Okay. So then we get into Palmy, which is most generations they do a Pikachu kind of knockoff. They try and have that generation's
It's
Pikachu.
like
And
uh,
so
The plushy girl is gonna go nuts for these characters, so I'll say that for
Yeah,
sure.
I have a plush of Plusle and Minum back there in the pile of plushes, and Plusle and Minum were the kind of Pikachu knockoffs for Gen 3. But I mean,
uh,
I've liked most of them because like Pachirisu, the one for Gen 4, and the one I can never remember its name for Alola. Like those Pikachu knockoffs I like, but I didn't like the one for Sword and Shield, and this one seems like it'll be alright. It reminds me of Alola and Raichu in some senses, but
okay. What's
and
this? Graphite?
Grafai.
This is wow. That's a wicked ass design, dude. I dig that.
Yeah, like this one is cool. We already had kind of a paint Pokemon with Smeargle, and Smeargle was a fan favorite Pokemon for a long time. But Grafai, so when Pokemon they started doing this a few games ago. They did it with Sword and Shield, where they had like a 24-hour nature broadcast of like they were just this one shot of a forest in the Galar region, and that's how they teased Impidimp, and they showed Galarian Ponyta for the first time. But it was just kind of a waste of time. Like it was a 24-hour stream of almost nothing happening. Like it was just kind of a static image of a CGI forest and with an occasional things happening.
Okay.
And so that's how they announced. They teased Impidimp and they showed Galarian Ponyta. And then for the last game, they kind of had like this research footage of someone hiking in the mountains for Legends Arceus to show Alolan, Hisuian Zeraora and Zeraark. Their names are just like tongue twisters to me. But they to show
uh,
the new versions, they did that, and they did a similar thing for Grafai when they announced Grafai to of like they showed pictures of like tree branches painted, and it's like, oh, so we're probably going to get a new paint Pokemon, and then they showed Grafai.
I'm looking at the last two of these, and was that Corridon and Miradon.
Yeah,
These
Koraidon and Miraidon.
all right, and they transform like into motorcycles.
Yeah, so in the older games, you used to have a Pokemon that was an HM slave. So it'd be like a normal type Pokemon that you can teach Surf and Cut and Fly and all these different moves to.
I remember those. Yeah.
Yeah, so a few generations ago, they started removing that. So with Legends Arceus, instead of having to have a Pokemon that knew Surf, you would just go up to the water and you'd ride a Hisuian Basculegion. Or I think it's just Basculegion, and it was the pre-evolution. Doesn't matter. They had a Pokemon that when you needed to travel to an island or whatever, you'd ride that Pokemon. And if you needed to climb a mountain, they had a Pokemon for that. And if you needed to fly, they had a Pokemon for that. And so but they had it in some of the 3DS games even where if there was a route that was a water route, you'd get a Pokemon at the beginning of the route that wasn't part of your party, but anytime you needed to do anything related to water, you could summon that Pokemon. So this is actually one of the interesting things. So these transform Koraidon, even though so I'm going Scarlet. These are the box legendaries for the two versions. Scarlet's Koraidon, Miraidon is Violet. I'm going Scarlet because Scarlet's ancient Pokemon supposedly and Violet's future. So that's like the difference between the two games. Like they're probably going to have different gym leaders and they have different professors. So it'll be Koraidon looked cool because it's like, oh, he's going to turn into like both of them. You could look at them and see that they were going to turn into motorcycles at one point. The thing I don't like about Koraidon is that even though he has a wheel on his chest and like tail, he still runs when you're riding him. And then he still swims using his arms and legs when you're in the water.
Wicked. Like I see, like you can see, like in this picture here from this website, Cerebill or Cerebi.net, and like you can see that like he's like it's literally still swimming as it's in the water. It's interesting.
Yeah, and so apparently, normally the legendary Pokemon are at the end of the game. They're like one of the last things that happens either before the Elite Four or one of the last things that happens in the game in general. But with this one, it seems like you're going to get your legendary early on because the swimming and like driving and gliding, all of those are things you're going to need to do over the course of the game. So it'll be, and they've said that you're going to get your legendary earlier than you typically would in a game. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it.
It does sound interesting. Like all of it, what you're saying, it sounds really interesting. And like my big thing about all this is the designs of these characters look awesome. Like this Silazar
Oh
has like a
yeah,
little on his chest also.
Silazar is interesting because we don't know the lore with Silazar, but
Okay.
Silazar, like they've had legendaries that you had pre-evolutions in earlier games. So it'd be interesting if they're showing us it with the legendaries for advertising, but we're actually going to be riding a Silazar and doing all these things with the Silazar before it evolves into one of the box legendaries.
That's interesting
Well,
also.
yeah, we're still kind of unsure. The two that have really interested me, because these don't look like anything Pokemon's done before ever, Armorogue and Cerulege. They look like Mega Man NT Warrior or Mega Man EXE characters
Okay.
more than they look like Pokemon.
I wasn't gonna say anything about these characters because, like, as you can tell by me talking about, I'm not the biggest expert on this, but like, dude, I thought that like these are not Pokemon. Like, they look nothing like. They look more like the final evolution of a Digimon character. That's what they look like.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're throwing a lot of their design language completely out the window with these, but you know, they're cool. At the same time, you can't look at them and say that they're not.
No, you can't. Those are the plushies I want. Those guys right
These are the ones you get action figures for. You
there. No, I want to be like the cool kid. Give me an action figure plushie, just so I can hang out with that guy and keep it in the bed the entire time. Sounds like a good time. No, but you're right. Those are action figures for sure. Do they actually have any Pokemon action figures out there?
yeah, I mean, they have amiibos, they have I have a few different Pokemon based figures behind me and like but yeah, there are definitely figures of Pokemon that, or just toys in general.
All right, all right, all right. Trying to look in the back of your area. I don't see anything popping out at me right now. To be continued. Maybe next episode we'll we'll see something in the foreground. But all right. See now I'm gonna look into like the Pokemon action figures. Then you got me interested.
Oh, it's a Pokemon merchandise is a very deep rabbit hole that is bottomless.
See now you're scaring me, Anton. I don't know about this now, dude.
I mean, I've been into Pokemon for 20 years, and I remember having a Charmander plush as a kid that was one of my favorite toys, and like even in like middle school for Gen 3, I had a Kyogre. Like it was made of plastic. It was a plastic Kyogre. I don't even know how else to describe it, but just yeah, Pokemon stuff. It's ridiculous. Like Pokemon, Pokeball, got my Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire 3DS. Yeah, the Pokemon rabbit hole goes deep.
It's like it runs deep in you too.
Oh yeah.
I just remembered this, like us talking about this, like and you talking about like all the controllers and like how deep it goes. McDonald's is doing something for Pokemon right now, and like
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure why that is because like I just got my kid a Happy Meal last night. Yeah, I bought my kid a Happy Meal like before you guys judge me, like mind your business. But I got them a Happy Meal, and there is it for the Harvest Moon, and is it Clefairy that's going on in Pokemon? Is that why they're doing all this, or is it something else that's going on?
Well, I mean, McDonald's every few years does Pokemon collaborations,
Okay.
and they actually have an exclusive line of cards. And since the cards value has gone up, like last time they did it, people would
Oh,
go to McDonald's and just like buy, yeah, Happy Meal
gotcha.
after Happy Meal to get these cards to sell them on eBay. And so it was, and I mean, they've done it before, but Pokemon cards weren't something like, I remember when my first year of college, they had a Pokemon Happy Meal thing going on, and I went and I got a Happy Meal, and I asked them to give me the Pikachu toy specifically because it was like actually decent Pikachu. So
I mean, you talking about the Pokemon cards, like they're saying the same line of talking this. This happened literally 2 days ago. Is the headline reads from Nintendo Life: "Man steal Pokemon cards, then tries to sell them back." Like, this is from 5 hours ago. Man charged after stealing $12,000 worth of Pokemon cards. This is all the same story. This is what recently just happened. I didn't think people were still stealing Pokemon cards and trying to sell them back to people. I didn't know that was still a big major crime in the nerd world. That's wild to me.
well, Pokemon cards had a resurgence during COVID because a lot of big YouTubers got into buying extremely expensive sets of Pokemon cards, and
Okay.
so like the Pokemon card culture kind of came back in a big way like in
Hmm.
2020. So
It
I
must
just
have been like only on the Pokemon radar because I didn't hear any of that bubbling up from any of the other nerd radars that like I'm a part of right now. Like, how did you know that is it because like you're a big Pokemon fan? That's how you heard about the resurgence of all this stuff, or like was it through other channels you heard about it too?
well, I know Logan Paul was one of the big ones. Like, yeah, I know I roll at him, but Logan Paul was one of the ones that was driving Pokemon card prices up because like at one point he was doing like a boxing thing and came out with a like graded mint Charizard card on his
Right.
chain because that was something that he was doing. Like, it was really kind of a like that kind of YouTube trend where it was happening more so than on the nerd and the gaming. The like there of course are Pokemon card channels that have been Pokemon card channels for a long time and will continue to be Pokemon card channels, but it became like one of the just kind of popular things, like the big streamers and the big YouTubers, like on that kind of level,
I get you. like
got really
I
into.
I have to roll my eyes. That guy that guy just he's a hassle. But yeah, I hear you. I get what you're saying. And you know what? I also in my circles heard about the Logan Paul Pokemon chain around his neck too. Like, and you make a good point, man. Like when he started that, it really got people talking about Pokemon again. So he serves his purpose, I suppose.
Yeah, and I know that was something like the Pokemon card unboxings, like people just going to Target first thing in the morning, buying just all the Pokemon cards in Target, bringing them home, opening them, seeing what holographics they got. Like, it was something that, I didn't spend a bunch of time watching it. It wouldn't be like, oh, I'm getting on YouTube to go watch Pokemon card pack openings. But there
So like,
were.
you had that for Pokemon. I had that for Magic the Gathering. That was a whole Magic the Gathering. That's my era of
Right.
card games. Yeah.
So imagine if right now Justine got really into Magic the Gathering cards. Like, it would really bring a resurgence, like a whole audience of people who may have had a little bit of interest, no interest whatsoever in it before. Like, it would bring just a huge audience and drive the prices up, and like, yeah.
Is she still relevant?
I think so.
No shade. It's like, like the woman who like constantly sings as she's playing games. Like, she's still relevant? And like
Well, my knowledge of her was like as a tech reviewer, not as like singing. So we might be talking about different people, or
no,
maybe
oh, I remember. I believe me. I remember I just seen first hit the scene. She used to sing while playing games all the time, all the time. And I just didn't think that she still had like any pull. Still, I'm just all right. I guess wow. Maybe she doesn't do it as much as she used to, but I'm telling you, she used to. Every time she got on playing a game, she would have to sing a little melody as she was doing it. I guess I didn't think she was still on the
well,
scene.
she's still my like. I know she's still doing tech reviews and stuff. So
I see that. I'm on her IG page right now. She just turned 33. God, God, I thought she was. she recently she recently got to hang out with Tim Cook of Apple.
yeah.
Damn, she's on it. All right, shows what the fuck I know. All right, well, old man D needs to stop talking. All right, well, good for her.
Well, I mean, you have the fact that I never knew about the singing part of it, and I just knew of her in her more modern sense. Like that's an interesting like thing for even people who are younger than me that are more into the YouTuber space. Like that's probably something even they didn't know.
I didn't know she didn't do that anymore. I thought she still like I figured that she still did reviews and like did like gaming and whatnot, but like I thought like that was like a part of her staple. I just all right, like she was around the same time as Marcus Brownlee like
Yeah.
showed up. Like yeah, like I remember he was a kid. He started out. Good gods, man. I am sure of my social media age right now. Good God. Oh man. Like I think I started out around that time too, doing like all my social media stuff. If you guys ever look back, or you yourself ever look back, like I'm celebrating my 11 years of FTO. I'm doing it around the same time as my birthday. So like, you know what? Let's do both. Like I'm turning 40, FTO is turning 11, and man, this is all right. I can't believe I decided to make this a career for mine, but like it's good. It's good. We do got some more stuff on the docket. Trailers. Trailers.
I just
I'm
looked. January of this year was 12 years of Anton Sixxx.
seriously?
Yeah, when I made this Twitter account and first started, like, because this wasn't my first Twitter account, but I started this Twitter account that is Anton Sixxx 12 years ago.
See, I started this Twitter account for FTO at 2013, but I have my Facebook page much longer than that. So I did it when my kid was born. My oldest. I like when she was born is when I created that page, and like I started that one for like 2 years, and then I created the Twitter page because I was apprehensive about getting on. Whew. I wish I had like your mentality, like hop on everything when it first comes out and like just like see what happens. I wish I had that kind of mentality when I was younger.
Well, I'm
Definitely.
not necessarily on everything because we talked about it last week where I'm not really on TikTok like that, but I kind of see the ones that come around and like find the things I like and dislike about them, and certain ones stick around for a long time, like Twitter and
Yeah.
Instagram, but some like come and go.
I've been making it a habit to get verified on new things that come out. Like something comes out, get verified, move on. That's why like I can't really do the was it Fanscape? I forget what the hell it's called. Fancast? Yeah. Try Fancast. You gotta have like a verification on Instagram or TikTok. Well, that's what you're not for me. So I'm good. But yeah, man, we got trailers. Secret Invasion, Mandalorian, and our little teaser for Assassin's Creed.
Well, we got a tease for Assassin's Creed actually. So today was Ubisoft Forward. And so it was a huge showcase of a lot of their things. They talked about like Trackmania and Just Dance and a lot of the different Ubisoft things they have going on, but they talked about Assassin's Creed. So they showed teases of not the next game. The next game they kind of had a full trailer for. They announced the name for it. You can go pre-order it. That's Assassin's Creed Mirage. Um, but then there's going to be Assassin's Creed Infinity that has codename Red and codename Hex within it, and that is Assassin's Creed Infinity looks like it's going to be a live service Assassin's Creed where they add different campaigns over time and different characters, but it's all under one umbrella of a game instead of selling multiple individual games, just having like one persistent like base for Assassin's Creed games to come out on. So they showed those. They showed codename Jade, which is a ancient Chinese Assassin's Creed game coming to mobile, and they also showed they're having a live action Netflix show.
All right. Sorry. That's all right. That got well. All right. Well, there you go.
Yeah, I'm most
Sorry, I'm completely caught off guard by that. On Netflix. Whew, you just hit me like and there it is, Infinity. Codename Hex, codename Red, codename Jade, and Partnership. Whew. And a Netflix show.
well, yeah, the codename Jade's the mobile game, so that's just all in the section of On the Horizon. Codename Red, which is the feudal Japanese one where you play as a shinobi, and Codename Hex, which seems to be related to not the Salem witch trials, but like the ancient like Roman witch trials. So Codename Red is definitely the most exciting thing for me because I remember since Assassin's Creed 2 thinking Assassin's Creed in Japan would just be awesome.
Like period. It's like that thing everyone's talking about bringing a Predator to Japan, like to feudal Japan, and talk about like some samurais. Like, yeah, no, I hear you, absolutely.
Yeah, so we're finally getting that, and that's gonna be something I check out. Like Ghost of Tsushima, kind of is the game. Like if I want that open world, like third person action adventure game, I'm gonna go to Ghost of Tsushima for that personally. But it'll be interesting to see like how well Ubisoft is able to pull it off because it's been a few years since Ghost of Tsushima. So if this is happening like 2024, will it be competing directly with Ghost of Tsushima 2? It'll be interesting to see how these pieces fit into place.
Still relevant, I believe, though. Like it has been a while since it came out, but it's still relevant. Like for a lot of people, like a lot of people are still talking about Ghost of Tsushima. Like it's still like on the tip of the tongue. Even with Elden Ring being like it is, and with like Ragnarok coming out, so like people are still talking about that game. So like it's
well, I mean, Ghost of Tsushima is a really good game, and I know some people listening. I haven't beat Ghost of Tsushima. Like that's one of the ones. Like I was burnt out from playing The Last of Us Part 2 when Ghost of Tsushima came out because they came out like a month apart from each other. And so like I marathoned through The Last of Us Part 2, one of the most depressing games of all time, and then was just kind of burnt out and got Ghost of Tsushima. I played a lot of the multiplayer. Like Ghost of Tsushima Legends, like the surprise drop of that. I was like, yeah, I'll check it out, and actually played like a good amount of it. And the only thing I didn't do actually was the raid, because they had a raid as like the big final piece of content, and
okay.
I didn't get a chance to do the raid.
I will say also with this game is Shuri Agashtalu. She's a part of like the Expanse. She's a part of Star Trek Beyond. She was on the flight attendant. She's also absolutely gorgeous. she's also going to be voicing one of the characters on Assassin's Creed Mage. She's going to be playing Roshan. She's doing like a video for this UB Forward. Good God, like most of you may not know this, but like I've been following her work for a while now. Like she was also in the Arcane. Like you may have heard her inside like the Arcane. She's a Iranian American actor. I'm that's a sell for me. Like just hearing her voice, it's like hearing butter melt in your ear when you hear her talk. So I am 100% for this for sure. So yeah, like I know like gameplay is a big sell for most people, but sometimes like for me, like I need a good story. I know a lot of gamers out there just like I don't care about no story. I need a good story, and if she's gonna be a part of it, that means she's read a script and like she approves. So yes, I'm here for it.
Well, so in my experience with
I
big
love it. I
Hollywood
love when a game.
actors,
I love
yeah,
when a gamer. I love when a gamer starts out with that. Keep going.
yeah, just because they had like Kevin Spacey before a lot of the stuff with Kevin Spacey was found out. They had Kevin Spacey in Call of Duty. They've had like big Hollywood actors like what's his name? Vin Diesel is like the face of Ark Survival 2. And usually you don't get the best performance like Keanu Reeves was in Cyberpunk. And while his character seemed to be one of the better characters in that game, a lot of times these game companies will just put a huge budget into getting some of these actors to voice in their game, and then it
Not
doesn't
very good
benefit
with
the
that.
game at all. So,
That sounds like how old school like animation voice acting used to be. Like Brad Pitt tried doing some voice acting. Catherine Zeta-Jones used to do some voice acting for big movies, and like they were not very good at doing voice acting. Like Michelle Pfeiffer also. Like they are no Keith David. They are no Cree Summer when it comes to voice acting. Like those are people who actually do voice acting.
right.
And I think I both know that like both Keith David and Cree Summer are going strong in many different video games still currently because like they also do television, film, and voice acting. Like when you don't get an actor who's a part of voice acting world, like they don't understand like that methodology of like how that world works. It's like the whole Pokemon name. Like all these Pokemon names. That's because like you know the rhythm of how to say these Pokemon names. Like even if you like just saw one for the first time, you can probably say it correctly because like that's a methodology to how to say these Pokemon names. Like that's why I kept slipping on all the names because I don't know like the rhythm to it. When it comes to voice acting, and some actors they just don't get the voice acting. But when it comes like to Cherie, like she understands like voice acting. She's been doing that for a while too. It's like I'm really for her to be a part of this. I'm really excited to see what happens with this. I am. I'm pumped. I'm so pumped.
Okay. Well, the last thing I kind of wanted to talk about, or well, we could talk about The Mandalorian, but I don't know if I should put it out there that you haven't watched it.
I don't care. People who listen to me know how I feel about in the MCU. They know how I feel about the toxicity of Star Wars, and it's hard for me. It's hard for me to get into it, man. Like I'll get into something. It's like what we're seeing with She-Hulk right now. Like I love getting in. Like I love comic books. I love like comic book TV shows. I love all that stuff. But like the toxicity that we see in Star Wars, it's moving itself to the MCU now. And like
Yeah,
I
and
can't
I
keep. I
mean,
can't. What's the point, man? What's the point of like getting myself involved in something? If people just going to talk crap about it for reasons that people can't change, like how they exist on this planet. Like, what's the point? Like, I'm good. I don't need that in my life. So, like, it just takes me out of it. Like we're in the same spectrum of work where we're talking about what we're talking. Like, we talk about like stuff like this, and like I'll see it, then like I'll get out of it. So I'll watch it just to watch it sometimes, but like other than that, there's no point.
right,
But yeah,
yeah. You don't have to engage with the fan base or the community around something to enjoy a piece of media. And that's kind of how I feel about it. Like, I wouldn't consider myself part of the Star Wars fandom, but The Mandalorian's a good show. And
I'm,
like a lot of the toxicity around it, I've kind of completely missed because I just watch and enjoy a TV show off the content that I see in the TV show and the enjoyment that I've received from it. So, whatever toxicity, like, I'm cool staying away from it. But I know you're not. People know how you feel about the MCU and that you're just not the biggest fan about it. But for the first time, I saw you get legitimately hyped over this Secret Invasion trailer.
dude, it got me, man. It got me. That, whew. Like, first off, I'm a big Sam Jackson fan. Like, period. And secondly, like to know that his character was gone for most of the duration of the birth or the MCU. Like, dude,
Well,
like,
yeah,
how's that awesome?
well, we knew. I think it was the post-credit scene from
Captain
Spider-Man: Far
Marvel.
From Home, where
Oh, is
we
that what it
knew
was?
he
Okay.
was on the sword base in space. So we knew he was off planet, and we know that he's been gone for a while because we haven't seen Nick Fury in the MCU for a while. And we know he's
And
dealing with more cosmic level stuff because of Captain Marvel. And we know about the Skrulls also because of Captain Marvel. And then there were S.H.I.E.L.D. agents in Spider Man that at the end of the movie we found out were Skrulls. So,
like, dude, I gotta tell you, the actors in this, the actors in this, like, this is straight up espionage. And like, I gotta tell you, dude, like when it comes to espionage in comic books, it never disappoints. Not once, because what's one of like the most hyped films that fans still talk about today? Like, it's the Captain America Winter Soldier. That's full espionage. And seeing uh Kingsley Ben Adair, Olivia Colman, Ben Middleton, and Emily Clark all in this, along with Sam Jackson.
but yeah,
I'm excited.
they've been building towards like a lot of the things that are going to start playing out as we get closer to the next Avengers movies. Like they've
Yeah.
been setting up small things in all these shows. Like they set up Planet Hulk.
Yep. For in She-Hulk, from my understanding, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's going to be interesting to see all these things play out because like I feel like we kind of came to the end of the Thor stuff and we kind of got to the end of well, the Iron Man and the Captain America and like we have the new people taking on the mantles of Thor and Captain America and I'm assuming we're going to get a new Iron Man in the near future.
I feel like it'll be after this Kang dynasty, after this Secret War happened. Like we even come closer to like a new Iron Man in the limelight. And if it's not Riri Williams, like I don't really know who. Like maybe War Machine, the Armor Wars. They just announced that too at D23. So like that may be part of it as well.
So,
Like
yeah.
the fight for Iron Man. It's like the battle for the cowl in Superman and Batman.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see. Like, I really just think that I'm going to keep following it. Like, I know a lot of people have fallen off the MCU, but for me, like, I have Disney Plus, so, like, these Marvel shows come out. The only Marvel show I haven't watched in its entirety is Hawkeye. And that's just because, and I've heard it's good, but I'm just not, like, a Hawkeye fan, you know?
I get
But
that.
I
What do
mean,
you think of Miss Marvel then?
I thought Miss Marvel was really cool, and it was actually interesting being able to talk to one of my coworkers who's Pakistani about like some of the cultural things that were happening in the show, and like he's loosely into Marvel, but he was really on board with some of the decisions they made with Captain Marvel, and like for what the way it ended off, and like I don't know if you want to do spoilers for Captain Marvel this soon.
It, uh, You say Captain Marvel?
Miss Marvel.
It's been like over 6 months. By all means, spoiler alert, just for you all to know. Go
Yeah,
right ahead.
spoiler alert. It's interesting that they're setting up her as a mutant. Because I know in the comics she
Yeah,
was an Inhuman because they couldn't use the mutants, but it's now that they can use the mutants and they're setting up Kamala Khan as like our
yeah,
first instance of mutants in the MCU is really cool.
man. Like I heard it was very accurate. I haven't seen Miss Marvel, but I do know what happened in it. But it's not like a very interesting show. It's not like another show like for haters to hate. I feel like that's what I get myself like wrapped up in. It's like the haterade when it comes to like all these shows and TV properties, and like I gotta fix that in my algorithm somehow. But yeah, man, uh I gotta get on these shows. I got like a segment that I call episodes, and that's just me watching the show and talking about it, like making commentary as I watch it, and I use that as a podcast. So well, let's see what happens. I may have to do a binge of The Mandalorian. I think I did like the first episode of The Mandalorian, and I fell off after that. So
Well, yeah.
maybe I'll get back into it.
Oh,
Inside Out has a new thing coming out. The Little Mermaid was premiered. Snow White was announced.
oh wait, the live action Little Mermaid?
They got a trailer for it right now.
Ooh, I might have to go.
Mufasa, The Lion King, Peter Pan, and Wendy was announced.
Oh, so
Disenchanted. Good God. I'm on Disney D23's Twitter page, just scrolling through. New Haunted Mansion, Hocus Pocus 2. Let's see, is that a new Honey I Shrunk the Kids? Oh, it's a cosplay at the D23 Expo. And some other things that was mentioned there. Like we'll just wrap the show with this. You're okay with that? We're wrapping the show. We're talking about D23.
yeah, I actually have it up right now where I'm scrolling through looking.
You're trolling too. Also, they got like this new property called Wish. They got something called Journey into a Futuristic Version of Largos. It's a Nigerian first look at Kaguli. I Iwaju. I think I've heard about this property being sold off to Disney. Like they're making it a big deal there. Strange Worlds is coming out. I think I saw a trailer for that with my kids. I want to go see one of I think it was Despicable Me film, or like there was a Minions 2. Boss Burgers is coming back for a new season. They are talking of Willow. The Willow trailer is out. Tales of the Jedi. This
Hmm.
looks dark. This looks like it's a CGI like property, but it looks like really dark. It looks super
Well, I
dark.
mean, the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of their CGI stuff is they'll go a lot heavier with it than they will even in live action.
Isn't that wild? They get like a lot deeper and darker story with like the animated film like properties than they will with like the live action stuff. Isn't that wild to you?
Well, I feel like animation as a medium just lets people be a lot more expressive and go a lot crazier with like
Yeah,
stories. So
yeah, I feel that.
that's why I prefer animated stuff because animation as a medium just brings out a creativity that live action like
Just can't
Hollywood
compare to.
actors aren't necessarily gonna, you know, be able to do some of the things you can do in animation. Like,
I agree with that.
but yeah, I mean, anything else you want to point out of D23? I see Fantastic Four. I see Elementals, Inside Out 2.
I saw a trailer for that also at one of these films I took my kids to see. Like only time I go to the theaters like where my kids are going to go see something, and I forget what we went to see recently. There was a couple of kid films that were out. I know we saw the Minions 2 film, and we saw something else before that, and I forget what it was. What was it? Is it Encanto? Yeah, we saw Encanto a while back. We saw some trailers for film studios also, and I think I saw Elementals like a teaser for that one back then. It looked interesting. It looked cute, and I saw like the Stranger World trailer also looked interesting. looks like a whole different type of story. Well, it reminded me of a comic book called Black Hammer, that Strange World, and like Black Hammer is a dark comic book, but it had like the same kind of vibe to that comic book in that story, and like it made me interested to go see it. Like me personally, not for my kids, but for me to go see it. So, um, I had some low hopes for the future of the MCU. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't think like they can recapture that greatness that they had like with the first phases, the first 3 phases. But looking at this stuff here, man, like at the Fantastic Four, at they're the first comic book family, and like you got the Marvels, you got Armor Wars, you got the Secret Invasion, you got like the new Captain Marvel movie coming out pretty soon. Like,
Well, the Captain Marvel is the Marvels, and it's going to
is the
be
Marvels
Captain
okay?
Marvel, Miss Marvel, and
Monica Rambeau, I believe.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. All right, like Disney winning for a reason, dude. Disney's winning. They're winning for a reason. It's just like how PlayStation's killing it with the consoles. Disney's killing it with the entertainment. Like they just are. I
well,
wish that
Nintendo's the best-selling current gen console. To be fair,
to be fair, but the ones that most fans are talking about on a constant, you would come on, you would agree that it's PlayStation that most fans are gravitating towards.
yeah.
It is more, it is leaning more towards Xbox because like the past, but yeah,
But I
man.
mean, all three are selling incredibly well. It's hard to
Hmm.
find even a Switch these days. Like I've seen people resorting to getting the special edition Switches that cost more than the regular Switch, but don't even come with the game that they're a special edition for to get their hands on like the new OLED Switch. Because they
Nice.
did a Splatoon one and they're doing a Pokemon one, and so people have just all getting a Series X is hard. Getting a Series S is the easiest. Then probably a Switch or Switch and Series S are both relatively easy to get, but PS5 and Xbox Series X are both. And I mean they're getting easier. Like I know for a fact that PlayStation Direct, if you really want a PS5 and you live in the United States, sign up on PlayStation Direct. They'll email you. A lot of my friends who got theirs after launch went through PlayStation Direct. So
Nice.
just sign up, give them your email. They'll email you. People who get an email get in ahead of time. If not, just look out on Twitter for when they do their drops. And if even if they don't email you, you can go get in line and probably get a system. Like they haven't been instantly selling out for a while.
Interesting. Like that's really interesting. That's like something I need to get myself a part of. Like I'm we've been doing this for a while. We've been talking about games like crazy. Uh Maybe at the end of the year I'll get myself a console. It's gonna be a PlayStation if I get anything. But I think it's time for me to make that move, man. Time for that transition. My
Hey,
youngest goes to school next year, so I have like some time freed up. I should dedicate that to either streaming or just playing games casually again. So
well, you can stream natively from the PS5. You can. There are options like that's something I always tell people, especially in the streaming aspect, because like I consider myself a professional streamer. Like I'm familiar with OBS. Like I'm able to like create and like do things within OBS, and so but I got my start streaming from my PS4. Like the PS4
wow,
had a share button. You hold. For me, it was hold it down because I switched it to, and I do this on. I did it on PS4. I also do it on PS5, where a quick button press just takes a screenshot and like saves it to your gallery. But long pressing it lets you record a video clip or start a live stream or
I
anything like that. Whereas
I
it's
remember that.
flipped by default. By default, if you
Okay,
just press it, it brings up the menu, and if you hold it, it'll take the screenshot. But for me, I'm taking more screenshots than I need the menu coming up.
I feel that. All right, well I'll keep that in mind. Like I know I gotta link up with you pretty soon. Hopefully we get like a little studio vibe. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
A little optimism for you guys. Getting like a little studio for table cheese, and I can just doing it big like that. and I'll put my computers in your hands, and hopefully you can fix my OBS for me. We'll see what happens with that. There is one last thing I want to talk about. Like Straw Hat Goofy was at D23 hosting a few panels there, so good on Straw Hat and doing his thing. Represent like that's good to see that kind of like that flourish of his career from TikTok to D23. So good for him.
Blessing Adeoye Jr., one of the founders of OK Beast, who's now at Kind of Funny, the fact that he hosted the games presentation they did from D23, where they talked about Midnight Suns and announced the new Captain America, Black Panther game, and there was actually a surprising amount of Disney news. Nothing particularly stuck out to me as anything that I'm super excited for in the near term future.
I mean, people are talking about, as I said, people are talking about that, that Captain America Black Panther game, but I feel like they talked about it for name recognition alone.
Right,
so.
we essentially just saw a picture of it. We didn't even see anything. We haven't seen gameplay. That is the most cinematic CG pre-rendered trailer. Well, I won't say it's the one that I've seen.
It's up there. It's up there. I'm not one to throw some flour on top of a Disney or Marvel. So it was anticlimactic to say best. Good music, nice visuals, but that's all it really was. It wasn't really anything there. So there was no dare there. Put it that way.
Right. So people are talking about it, and I'll believe it when I see it. With things getting delayed so much, and just anything being announced without a time frame, we know it's very far away.
Yeah, but that's the show. That is the show. We did it. Like an hour, 20 minutes this time, but you know what? It was a good vibe. We're constantly changing every episode. You notice that?
Yeah.
Feels
seeing
good.
what works, seeing what doesn't work, feeling it out, depending on what's going on in the world. I feel like we bled into your more normal comic book movie entertainment side.
But we also showed me movie trailers. you should have did that.
But it's all good content.
Yeah, it's all fun. That Secret Invasion, man, it got me in my feels for sure.
Okay, well, remember, people can follow me around the internet, ChessyControllerPodcast.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Anton Sixxx with 3 X's, on Instagram at Anton with the number 6 and 2 X's. D, where can people find you?
You can find me at FTO Nerd Talk, wherever you find FTO Nerd Talk. I keep telling myself to make a personal Twitter page, but that's probably not going to happen. So you can find me wherever you find FTO Nerd Talk. I'll always reply to any place in the spectrum that says FTO Nerd Talk. This guy's going to be there. So this has been a fun episode. Anton, can't wait till next time.
Can't wait either. Till next time, keep it cheesy.
And take it easy.
All right.